he did say that the Europeans are not going to buy many American autos, even if the tariffs go to zero, because they are used to buying their own cars. But when it comes to American drugs, yes, they want American drugs because there is no other country that can produce innovation of the type that America produces. The only problem is that they are restricting access and availability of our drugs in their countries. And this is an issue that the U.S. Trade Representative has taken up, but needs to really accelerate, especially on the wealthy countries of Western Europe and East Asia. This is
It's also an issue between the U.S. and Canada, isn't it?
There's already an issue between U.S. and Canada on this subject. As you know, the Canadians have hardly any innovation industry. And they are choosing to follow a totally different system. They are accessing American innovation, but they do it in a different way. They just squeeze the prices to a level where the American innovators don't get their fair share. And the same issue is in Western Europe.
They squeeze the prices of the American innovators because they are able to negotiate those prices and negotiate hard. The public health system there.
It's the public health system where there is a government ability to do it. It's not a free market system. It's a government monopoly buying system. If you have a
and isn't that what you see in a lot of the selected European countries that you just referenced?
Surprisingly, all these other countries are free market countries when it comes to other sectors. When it comes to pharmaceuticals, they are buying monopolies. And if you are a buying monopoly, the innovator is not going to get their fair share.
So would tariffs on drugs change that?
I think tariffs is one way to do it. There may be other ways. The USTR can enforce some of these things like intellectual property protection, like access to innovation through systems that are more transparent. Sometimes you can hold off on a drug coming in by saying, well, you haven't done this or done that. You can do lots of things if you're a centrally managed system. And I think that's the real issue. If we are opening our market up here to everybody, why aren't they opening their market up to the one industry where the U.S. is very good at, which is the drug innovation industry? And so that's an issue. And I'm very glad that this president has taken it up. Previous presidents have not done a very good job in this area.
Some of the U.S. might say, well, one solution would be the U.S. government to negotiate with drug companies, just as the rest of the world does, to bring our drug prices lower. Would that be a major threat to the R&D of pharma?
This is obviously something that comes up usually close to an election season, and would be a very bad idea, especially with bubbling science now being so good, with new things like cell therapies and gene therapies that actually get to disease at the source. This would be a terrible time to turn us backward 30 years, 40 years, and really hurt innovation. Because if you create a buying monopoly here, who's going to do the 13, 14-year journey to do R&D, to come up with something when you don't have a sense of free pricing on the other end?
Talk to me about the morality of putting a tariff on a life-saving drug.
I think that would be an issue. It would be an issue, and I think it is a very good thing that this administration has not prioritized putting tariffs on life-saving drugs. They've gone after other consumer items. I would be opposed to doing that. I think that there's something about that really is concerning, really is. I think one should have access and affordability as opposed to restrictions on life-saving drugs.
You're a CEO. You've had to review advertising plans and advertising campaigns, I'm sure. Though most of your ads are all full of disclaimers anyway. It's like 90% disclaimer and 2% ad. But I want to get your thought on Nike using the controversial Colin Kaepernick as one of the featured faces in their new Just Do It theme. Good move?
Had I been in that field, I would have stood for the national anthem. I don't think it's worth getting into that kind of a situation in sports, but that's my opinion. I personally think that it's a very risky move. What's happening here is the ability to get a few loyalists who are intensely happy with what's happened here, who might actually get to the brand and buy it, and then have a whole bunch of other people who are not happy with this decision, who are not going to go near your brand. And long term, it might create poor brand value because now you're associating your brand with a controversial,
with a political stance
really
that makes a lot of people very angry.
If you go back to Benetton, the United Colors of Benetton, they used to have very controversial ads every few years. HIV, immigrants, smugglers, they're all kinds of things, blood, murderers. They're very controversial ads. It's a fading brand in the US because it doesn't build brand power in the long term. It's really a good idea to do it the right way and not get involved with these kinds of controversies.